Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about one of the worst TV shows ever made, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, though it should not even be called Lord of the Rings, it should just be called Lord of the Woke, because that's really all it is. Everything about the show is big budget woke disaster, spelled out D-I-S-A-S-T-E-R, which is something that Amazon does not know how to spell, because all I see them trying to spell is not disaster, but defend. Defend our crap show, defend our reviews, change reviews around, delete them, hide them, get rid of anybody who disagrees with us. Call everybody a racist and a misogynist and a bigot for absolutely zero reason other than for not liking the show. And their most current defense is a top 10 list of strongest characters in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. As you can see, it's getting a lot of traction. Right here, 1 comment, 1 heart, and 5 angry faces. Already I can tell that this article was a complete bust with the readers. But we're going to read through it anyway, because together we need to endure this adventure. Together we need to expose who these people are, expose their nonsense and their ridiculous defenses of this show. Let's get into it. An undertaking of epic proportions, The Rings of Power delves deep into the history of Middle-earth. It chronicles the major events of the Second Age leading up to the creation of the One Ring. While Sauron is yet to make an appearance in this sumptuously designed TV program, there's no dearth of strong characters at this point in the story. Strong characters? What kind of strong characters are we talking about? The Rings of Power incorporates a range of non-canonical elements. Yeah, I'd say lots of non-canonical elements. Not just a range, but a wide range of non-canonical elements. In fact, I'd go to say that go as far to say as like 85% of the show is non-canonical in nature. Anyway, non-canonical elements into its overall narrative, weaving them into Tolkien's story with near flawless precision. Oh man, you could just see the determination. Amazon's just like, come on, like just say like all the most ridiculously positive things you can, and then just like, well, I could use the term near flawless. Like, oh, that's perfect. It's near flawless. That means that like you're showing your human side by admitting there's at least 1 or 2 problems with it. Let's read on. Some of the strongest characters in the Rings of Power have no actual powers. They're not special at all, partly because they need neither physical prowess nor supernatural abilities to save the day, which is the exact opposite message that Amazon itself is trying to convey to the audience with Rings of Power by showing that Galadriel is one of the most powerful and amazing beings to ever exist, who kills every single orc in existence with a single blink of her eye. With a wave of her hair, she sweeps armies off their feet and they fall to the ground, crying in the fetal position because of how awful they are as patriarchs. So guess who's number 10? Theo. Theo is the number 10 strongest character in the show. Do you see the desperation? Do you see the absurdity? Theo is living proof that big things come in small packages. Theo might be a child, but he's clearly bolder than most citizens of Tirharad. That's really funny because I remember when Arondir was trying to like teach him how to lift his aim, and Theo was just like, yeah, well, I'm not even going to try. We're all going to die. The orcs are going to kill us all. Just stop trying to teach me. I'm going to give you a really angry, mean face for whatever reason, I guess. Here you go. He returns to his orc-infested village in the hopes of finding food. Yeah, and that was really stupid of him to do that too. A lot of people pointed that out and thought it was really dumb that he went back to the town, but these guys are just lifting it up like it's awesome or something. Fully aware of the consequences of his actions, although the villainous creatures try to capture him, Theo manages to evade detection by hiding inside a well. There's certainly strength in his unwavering courage. Where are they getting this stuff? Did we watch the same show? I'm not sure anymore. Because I'm watching this show, I'm not seeing courage on any front. I'm just seeing everybody being all mad and then being all scared or just incapable. The only one capable is Queen Amazing Galadriel, Angel of Love, in violence. Arondir commends the human teenager's willpower, claiming that it took him over 200 years to develop the same level of bravery as the 14-year-old. It's so funny that he says that right after Theo's just like, I'm giving up. It's over. We're all going to die. Like, he says that right after. What are these guys talking about? And then we've got Prince Durin at number 9. Is he arguably stronger than most dwarves in Khazad-dûm? I mean, yeah, but we won't see that. We haven't seen that yet. He went down to fight a Balrog, and we didn't see anything. We didn't see any of the Balrog. He comes back covered in dust, and then they're like, "Oh my God, you did it! You saved the men. You stopped the Balrog." He's like, "Yeah, I did. Too bad you didn't see it. It would have been really awesome." Prince Durin demonstrates his prodigious stamina during a ceremonial rock-breaking competition, defeating his friend Elrond in the process, and that's like the most action we ever saw from the dwarves in this show. Oh, they are really stretching this one. Then we've got Arondir at number 7, sharpens his archery skills and swordsmanship for 8 decades. Just for 80 years, he's like watching a tower. Like, these are the characters that they created. These are Amazon's characters that they thought the fans of Lord of the Rings everywhere would love. Then we've got Halbrand is probably as proficient. Wait a minute, this is interesting. Halbrand is probably as proficient as Galadriel when it comes to fighting. Maybe he's a little competent. Not as good as her, though, but still pretty good. Because he's introduced as a shipwrecked sailor in the Rings of Power. He saves a drowning Galadriel by taking her aboard his ramshackle raft. Oh, okay. Upon arriving in Armenelos, the capital city of Numenor, Halbrand foolishly tries to steal Tamar's badge. This earns him the Guildmaster's wrath. No, they just beat him up. And then he beats them up and like kills a couple of them, and it was really violent and totally not Lord of the Rings, but whatever. Halbrand effortlessly defeats Tamar. Yeah, whatever. We don't care. Elendil has been called one of the strongest combatants of the Second Age. The book version of Elendil is said to be extremely tall, standing approximately 8 feet in height. He is widely renowned for his martial prowess and has been called one of the strongest combatants during the Second Age of Middle-earth. Elendil is considerably shorter in the Rings of Power, but his leadership skills and charismatic persona presumably remain unchanged. Elendil's fate is directly linked to Sauron. While he doesn't survive the duel with the Dark Lord, his son Isildur takes his father's sword and chops off Sauron's one-ring finger. See, I mean, foreshadowing. They play important roles later. That's why we're treating them like crap now, and why we're ruining their characters now, so that their character arcs can be completed later, and then they have their shining moment after the series is already done with. You see how it works? You see how smart we are at Amazon? We plan way ahead. We plan so far ahead that we anticipate bad reviews, and so we hide them. Elrond's incomparable strength is somehow related to the Maya blood flowing in his veins. Tolkien refers to Elrond as hail as a tried warrior in the fullness of his strength, a flattering yet inadequate characterization of his peerless power. The legendary Lord of Rivendell is famous for his vast knowledge of healing and precognitive abilities. As the future bearer of the ring, Vilya, Elrond's magical talents are beyond reproach. But no one recognizes those talents because they treat him like garbage too. They don't let him talk. Everybody cuts him off. Everybody tells him that he's wrong. And whenever he does try to stand up for himself, he's immediately put down. Gil-galad's accomplishments have been recorded in an epic poem. Oh man, I can't wait to see what they say about this guy. Gil-galad becomes the High King of the Noldor after the fall of Gondolin, inheriting the position from his uncle Turgon. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong, okay? He leads his people to victory during the War of Wrath, and reigns over the peaceful kingdoms of Lindon. Gil-galad refuses to trust Anatar, even if he doesn't instantly recognizes that the resplendent stranger is actually Sauron in disguise. Celebrimbor delivers Narya and Vilya to Gil-galad because the latter is the only one capable of keeping them safe. His accomplishments have been recorded in the epic poem titled The Fall of Gil-galad, which mentions the countless stars of heaven's field mirrored with... Okay, so here's... What is this? Hang on. This. None of this is in the show. None of this is in the show at all. They're just like, do you see what's happening here? They're just putting filler in this story to make it seem like they have a legitimate list, but they really don't. Adar boasts enough strength to whip an army of unruly orcs into shape. Adar resembles an elf at first glance, given his high cheekbones and pointed ears. However, there are no villainous elves recorded in Tolkien's mythos. Several characters in the Rings of Power initially mistake him to be Sauron, but Adar doesn't confirm or deny their assumptions. Do you know why he doesn't? Because the writers don't even know what they're going to do with his character. Do you know what Adar looks like to me? He looks like David Blaine after he just gets done accomplishing a great magical trick. Regardless, Adar boasts enough strength to whip an army of orcs into shape, an incredible accomplishment considering their genetic incapacity for teamwork. Although the scars on his face suggest that he's no stranger to pain, Adar is yet to showcase his fighting skills in the Rings of Power. Galadriel is overpowered long before she acquires Nenya, the elven ring of water. And now we're at Galadriel. Aside from her demonic outburst in front of Frodo, Galadriel is a benign character in The Lord of the Rings, known as the Lady of the Galadriel. She rules Lothlorien with her husband Celeborn. Tolkien's Unfinished Tales describes her as strong of body, mind, and will, a match for both the lore masters and the athletes of the Eldar. Way to connect dots. Galadriel's character in the Rings of Power evokes the fire and pridefulness of her youth, but also illustrates her mastery on the battlefield. In fact, Galadriel is overpowered long before she acquires the ring Nenya, an artifact that magnifies her magical abilities even further. Well, here's my question, then why haven't we seen any magic? Why are we only seeing her in badly choreographed fight scenes with swords, where she just pokes her sword in front of her and says, that's how you use it to attack people. You stick them with the pointy end, right? And then we have at number 1, the Stranger can seemingly bend the elements to his will. Yes, as we have seen, he can bend trees, bend ice, and bend Harfoots if he wants to. He's an evil wizard. Encased in flaming meteor, the Stranger crashes into Middle-earth somewhere in the vicinity of the Harfoot settlement. Although he looks like a wizard and evidently has magical powers at his disposal, it's impossible to substantiate his identity with the information currently available in the Rings of Power. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of, I don't know. The Stranger doesn't seem to know anything about the cultures, customs, and languages of Middle-earth, but he's a rather fast learner. This mysterious entity can manipulate all 4 classical elements, wind, water, earth, and fire. And then the Fire Nation attacked, and he's the Avatar, and me and Sokka have to teach him how to use his powers and defeat the Fire Lord, making him one of the most powerful characters in the Rings of Power. He is probably the most powerful character in the Rings of Power, because the Stranger has powers, unlike everybody else. I haven't seen Elrond use powers. I haven't seen Gil-galad, any of the other elves, or Galadriel. None of the elves that were under Galadriel's command at the beginning of the show used any powers. Everybody's just using swords. Even Arondir is using a bow. No one's using magic. Where's the magic? Only magic I have seen is the Stranger. That's it. And you know what? I also think, even though I really do hate the Harfoots, and I think the Harfoots are a stupid addition to the show because of their traditions and ancestral laws are just ridiculous, out of this world, redonkulous. But they're also not on the list. Okay? Even in The Lord of the Rings, Frodo took the ring all the way to Mordor and dropped that thing into the lava. Okay? He lost his finger in the process. But you're not even going to include any of the Harfoots in this. Like, one of the Harfoots at least saved the Stranger and has good intentions, even though they're not really well written. But way better than Theo. I mean, they put Theo at number 10. Like, what kind of a strong character is he? He can't even kill an orc without help from his sister. And then the second time he fights an orc, he just like cuts his finger and then he falls down. This is dumb. This is so dumb. And the defense only gets worse. It really does. Because after that, there's nothing. There's no justification for the rest of it. It's just... This should actually worry people. This is who is in charge. These are the people who report the news. Shills. Amazon shills. Normal people all over the world do not like this TV series. They'd rather watch House of the Dragon. They would rather watch Andor, which I'm going to do a video on later too, because now there's some nonsense in that too. It's just disappointing. Just when you think things can get a little better, when a show comes out once in a while, you're just like, man, I really want this thing to be good. And it ends up being trash. And then you're just disappointed further, constantly. And But you know what? It makes for good content. It really does, because eventually Amazon is going to have to admit their defeat. Eventually, they're going to have to fire these writers and hire new ones, and they're going to have to acknowledge that they messed up. It's only a matter of time. They can only push out so many shill articles before they're just completely wiped out, because we're getting those juicy reviews tomorrow, baby. And tonight at midnight, I think, is when the 6th episode comes out. They had 5 episodes to build that thing up. Episode 5 was supposed to be the episode where things picked up, but it was a disaster, an absolute disaster in every single way. And I'm pretty sure that tomorrow's episode is going to be even worse. I just can't wait for the inevitable backlash. I'm sure that Amazon is expecting it, and they should be, and they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed of what they've done to this show and its characters. And I honestly am looking forward to its downfall, and hopefully I contribute to its downfall so that they learn their lesson and bring us something that is worth our time. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Like and share this video, subscribe, and click that notification bell, and I will see you all next time.